Voyons, sont où tout le monde? Steph, la gang, on a un tournage à faire, là, je comprends pas.
Gilles, t'étais où? On te cherchait pour le tournage de la station de radio.
Station de radio?
Ben
Moi,
oui,
j'ai compris
regarde.
station-service.
Regarde!
Ben oui, regarde. Ben
On
oui.
est direct ici en plus.
Ben oui, c'est fort, hein? Je suis
Ben
impressionné. Moi, là, je suis content, là.
Mais regarde,
On
c'est
y va?
correct. Viens-t'en, suis-moi.
OK, je te suis, là. Donc, je suis en présence de Derrick Scott, l'animateur ici à 92.5 de Joule, une station de radio pour la communauté de Clarence-Rockland. Hey, Derrick, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for joining us this morning on the morning show.
Thank you for welcoming us here at your studio, man. This place rocks, man. Really rocks. It was my dream to come here, and here I am. So let's ask you a few questions. What's with your hair, man?
What's with my hair? What's with your hair?
I don't know, dude. It's a little bit longer than yours. Come on.
You know, a lot of people are going to think we're twins or something.
Yeah, glasses and hair. Are you my long lost brother?
I could be. I could be.
Yeah, because even with the voice there, it's true, your voice.
Well, yeah, and I noticed that you have, a very powerful voice. So,
Yeah.
have you always dreamed about getting into radio?
Yes. Yes. How do we do that?
There's
How
a
do
couple
people
of
get
ways.
Please
college.
explain.
College. You're going to have to go back to school, JF. There's a number of college programs out there, normally 2-year programs, one available at Algonquin. Just about every city in Canada has a radio broadcasting course. 2 years, you get your diploma. Okay, for you, maybe 3 years
Yes.
instead of 2. You get your diploma, and then you start looking for work, whether it be on the air, whether it be behind the scenes, producing commercials, maybe writing commercials. But I think you want to be the radio star, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things I want to do with, one of the few things I want to do with my life is radio, just one show. TV and radio.
Okay.
But
How about a morning show? Do you think you could be a morning show host?
if I have to be, I'll do it.
Okay, so you have no problems getting up around the same time that I get up, 3:15
What time?
a.m.?
I can do it
Yeah.
every day. Like I said,
Every
if
day.
I have to do it, I'll do it.
Okay.
If that's what it takes, I'll do it.
Because the morning show here on Jewel 92.5 starts at 5:30. So we're normally up around 3:15, 3:30. We're here at 5. And there's a lot of preparation that goes into the show. We don't wing it like other people I know. I'm talking about you, Jay.
Oh, me?
This stuff.
He's got nothing on me. Seriously, he's got nothing. Nothing on me.
But radio is very, very rewarding.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to connect with local business owners,
Right.
And help out people in the community as well with charity work. We get to promote a lot of the nonprofit events
Right.
and service clubs in Clarence-Rocklands. Le Centre d'Aide,
Right.
that's a charity that's near and dear to our heart, and many others as well. So there's a lot of benefits
Yeah,
to
I
being
bet.
in radio.
Yeah, cool. How long have you been in radio?
I've been in radio for over 20 years. I know, impossible, because I look so young.
Exactly.
But,
no
yeah.
Photoshop here, nothing at all.
No,
Just
no,
yeah, there.
no.
Oh, you look great.
Yeah.
You really do look great.
20 years. I went to college in London, Ontario,
Okay.
and I've done a fair amount of traveling from Owen Sound to London to Aurelia to Barrie to Cornwall to Kingston, and now I'm back home. Been here for 3 years, and I love it.
Yeah, doing the morning show.
Sometimes I'm amazed that I actually get paid for what I do. But I'm not at the point where I'm willing to volunteer my services. So as long as the paycheck keeps coming in,
Right.
we're good.
Because when you're doing radio, I imagine you're in your own bubble, sort of. I mean, you're in the studio. I mean, you're a co-host with Sylvia, but still you're in your zone, your own little bubble, which I love.
You almost have to visualize the people that are listening to you and picture what they're doing when you're on the radio. So Sylvia and I are on between 5:30 and 10, so we got to picture what people are doing at that time. They're getting up. They're having their first cup of coffee. They're on Highway 17, maybe headed into work. Maybe they're out walking the dog. Maybe they're looking at YouTube videos of some really funny skits that I've seen on TVC 22.
Right.
Not sure who, would be in the skits.
Me neither.
Yep. Good morning from Derrick and Sylvia.
So why did you choose the Jewel as a radio station? I mean, you could have gone anywhere else. Why here exactly?
Well, I wanted to stay in the area,
Right.
Because that's where my daughter is. I was raised in Cumberland, which is just down the road from Clarence Rockland. So I had an opportunity to move back home and launch the radio station. So coming back home, doing something that I've done for 20 years, the timing was perfect, really. So I seized the opportunity, and it's been close to 3 years already.
People 3 years, wow. And where does that passion come from? I mean, the radio. Why radio passion? Where does it come from?
I grew up listening to the radio as a child. Pictured myself being on the radio. I knew from the age of 5 that I wanted to work in radio.
The age of 5.
And, 25 years later, okay, give or take, I still have the passion. I still have the drive. I get to meet great people, get to link myself up with great business owners, and also TVC Vendée. And yourself, JF, because, I mean, really, it's an honor sitting beside you.
Whoa! Wow. I didn't expect that one. Well, it's an honor for me to be sitting next to you right now, man. Because I love the sound of your voice, man. I love that voice. I could listen to you all day. Just love
Well,
it.
make sure that you do it.
Yeah.
Between
I listen to the
5:30 and
Jewel
10.
often. Yeah, of
5:30
course.
and 10.
Exactly. You listen to this guy right here. He's got the experience, he's got the looks, he's got the voice, he's got everything.
It's a little cool today. Our high is 7, and it does go.
What is Jewel's target audience?
The audience that the Jewel programs its music for is primarily adults, so male and female, a good 50-50 balance, generally over the age of 45. So a lot of the music that you hear obviously wouldn't appeal to someone in their 20s, but chances are maybe their mom, their dad, their grandparents, and what have you.
What is Jewel's music type? What do you guys play?
Well, obviously the music type is reflective of the target audience.
Right.
So songs from the 60s, songs from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Not really newer music because there are already radio stations, a ton of radio
right,
stations
yeah, it's true.
that are doing that. The one way that we would probably best sum up the music would be familiar. So every time you turn on the Jewel, you'll hear a song that hopefully will bring back some memories, whether it be a song from the Beatles from the 60s,
Right, okay.
or maybe something from the 1980s if you're a child of the 80s.
I'm a child of the 80s.
So am I.
Oh my God, we got so much in common.
We do.
What qualities do you need personally to be a radio host?
Well, I think obviously you need to have the personality. Now, the term personality, can mean a number of things. To me, when I think personality, I think someone who can obviously relate to the audience. You want to be able to talk about things that are important to that adult who's over the age of 45, whether it be kids, whether it be retirement, whether it be community. I mean, community is very important to our listeners, so you need to be able to talk to your audience about what's important to them. Obviously, showing pride in your community is another characteristic that makes up a great radio announcer. You need to know what's going on in the community,
Right.
whether it be a serious political issue to an event coming up to a fundraiser. I also believe it's important to share.
Okay.
Listeners need to know who you are before they love you. What makes you tick? What interests do you share? I mean, the one thing that I do quite a bit is I talk about my daughter on the radio. And with the Jewel audience, most of them are either parents or grandparents. So all of a sudden, we've created that bond between myself and the listener.
All right, so speaking of bond, what kind of bond do you have between you and Sylvia?
I think Sylvia and I share the same personality. We have the same interests. We both like to laugh. Community is very important to both of us. Plus, we also realize that at 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, seeing that the morning show runs from 5:30 until 10, we know what's important to the listener. So we make sure that we deliver it. Now, whether it be local news, whether it be promoting an upcoming community event, even weather. Weather's important. So Sylvia and I have certainly developed a pretty strong bond to say we've only worked together for 1 year. And I think it's basically up to both of us. The more you put into a relationship, a friendship, the quicker it will grow. So it's worked out well, and here's to many more years to come.
But come on, be honest. Between you and me, there is she annoying? Does she annoy you?
You know what? I think she would say I'm the most annoying one. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously.
she would deny it completely, but you know.
Okay, it's good to know, man. I've got your back. You know that.
Okay, good.
If she causes you a problem, man, I am there to save you.
Okay,
I'm gonna
good.
tell her right now if you want me
Good.
to. So, Derrick, where did you work before the Jewel?
I worked in Barrie, Ontario. I was what's called a program director for 3 radio stations there.
Wow.
B101, Che, and The Peak in Collingwood. So I lived in the middle of 2 cities, and I was there for probably about 5 years. I've done a fair amount of traveling. And you know the term where people say it's a small world?
Oh, yeah.
Here's an example. When I accepted the position at the radio stations in Barrie, Ontario, I ended up replacing a program director who is now my boss here.
How sweet.
So full circle. So it is a small world after all.
It is.
And it just goes to prove that you should never burn your bridges. Do not create any enemies. Make sure that everyone loves you, but everyone does. You're JF, so.
Of course. Everybody loves me, I think. We'll have to make some sort of a sondage to know if people actually like me. But anyways, it's not about me. It's not about me. So tell me, Derrick, who chooses the music?
The music is all programmed out of our head office in Toronto. All of the music that we play on the Jewel is all tested for likability based on the target audience. So what a number of radio stations will do when they put together their playlist is they will test each song.
Okay.
So they will play a sample of a song to a large group of a target audience.
Okay.
And if the majority remembers and loves the song, obviously that's a song you want to play, as opposed to a song that someone may not remember or may dislike. So that's how we pick the music we play on the Jewel.
And that's how I guess radio stations create hits. I mean,
In a way,
because
yeah.
I was always wondering, how do you know which song to play? What's the next hit? How do you know? You know?
Well, generally the advice that a lot of people get, and it's pretty simple when it comes to radio, just play the hits over and over and over again. People want to hear the hits. So you can't go wrong playing a song someone loves compared to playing a song someone doesn't like or someone doesn't even remember.
But there's there's a limit. I mean, some radio stations, they play a song like, I don't know, 20 times a day. The same thing. I'm like, at the end of the day, you just turn the radio off. It's like,
well, that's one thing about the Jewel where we're completely different. We've got the largest playlist compared to any other radio station.
Really? Do you?
So you won't hear repetition over and over and over again. When you look at it, we're playing all of the music from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. That's a lot of music to pick and choose from.
What's the biggest mistake you've ever made on radio? And be honest, come on, man. Everybody's watching you.
Biggest mistake that I've made in radio?
Yep.
Probably not getting into television so I could host a show like you have. I'm kidding.
Oh,
in a way.
Right.
I'm being serious, but I'm also kidding.
Sure you are. You know, I used to like you. It's starting to change a little bit, just a little bit.
No, in all seriousness, I think people in radio or television probably have a bloopers reel. I know I've made my fair share of mistakes on the radio. I make mistakes every morning.
Would you remember one in particular that was just so bad you felt terrible afterwards?
I actually once, and this is many years ago, so it didn't happen here on the Jewel. I accidentally said a word not realizing my microphone was on. I can't
Okay.
tell you what that word is.
Come on, say it. Come on. We want to hear it. Come on.
You know, you may have to bleep out a few
Exactly.
things.
We'll bleep
but,
that out. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely very embarrassing. And let's just say that I've learned my lesson to be very careful around a microphone.
Well, thank you, Derrick, for this interview. I mean, you're full of knowledge. You're a very smart guy, very talented, funny guy too. So I thank you very much. You've made my day. Thank you, man.
You know, all of these compliments, you'd think that you wanted my job or something.
What are you talking about? Wait. All right, next up, it's Stephanie's turn to have an interview with Sylvia. So stay tuned.
Alors bonjour, ici Stéphanie. Alors présentement, je suis avec Sylvia Ash Bullard, co-animateur avec Derrick pour le show du matin. So Sylvia, how are you doing today?
Really great. It's really great to have you all here this morning. You all look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. No?
No, you look actually very great. I
Yes.
want to thank you very much for, taking the time with us today, because it is important to see, how your radio station here in Clarence, Rockland works.
Well, we're really happy to have you here today.
So I'm pretty sure you're going to be very useful later on in the show, because we will be doing the weather. And since you are the weather girl, if you want to say it that way, I'm pretty sure you're going to have some really great insight for me and for GF.
I will try.
You will try. I'm pretty sure you're the expert. I'm pretty sure about that. So tell me, Sylvia, how long have you been doing radio?
About 7 years. So,
Oh,
not
really?
as long as Derrick has, but
No.
yes.
Did you start here at the Jewel?
No, I actually started back in Sherbrooke, Quebec.
Oh,
And
really?
started actually as a volunteer with
Oh.
the community station. And one thing just led into the other thing. I ended up working full-time
Okay.
as their news person and doing a whole lot of other things at the same time. Not being able to really master French in the Sherbrooke area, and I wanted to pursue radio, I decided to take a job at CTN Traffic
Okay.
as a traffic reporter. So that's how I came to be in the Ottawa area. And then after almost a year of doing that, I ended up replacing Christina on the Derrick and Christina morning show, and here I am.
Okay, so you and Derrick have been working only for a year now.
That's right, yes.
So what was the chemistry between you two? What makes you two so compatible together?
I think it always takes time to kind of get to know each other, and I think now we do pretty well together. We have a lot of laughs, and we're really relaxed. But at first, of course, you've got to learn about the other person, and it's almost like a marriage,
Yes, yes. So usually it's complementary.
That's
so,
right, yeah.
What is your qualities that helps Derrick be more, and so on?
Well, I guess sense of humor, of
Okay.
course. As I said, we do have a lot of laughs, and Derrick likes to put himself down. Sometimes I agree. Sometimes he likes to give me compliments, and of course I agree with that,
Who wouldn't? Yeah, for sure. So you told me you were on community radio, first of all, in Sherbrooke.
right.
So what attracted you to community radio?
Basically, I've always loved radio. I think that a lot of us that are in radio, it's because as a child we had this passion for it. So I've always had this desire. So I just started by volunteering, doing intros, and then learning a whole lot of other things. I even had a show on the station.
Okay.
So it really provided me a lot of opportunities in radio. And so from there I got into news and so on.
So you told me you started in Sherbrooke. So that means that you're truly bilingual.
No, that's
you're
the problem.
not.
No, I'm not.
Really?
No.
So you spoke French still down in Sherbrooke, but
Well, actually, because all of my work has always been English oriented. It's
Okay.
basically always been in English, whatever. It is more French there now than it used to be.
Yes.
So really to go forward in radio, not at my age, I don't think I ever will become perfectly bilingual. I can get by in French, but it gets harder as we get older.
sure.
So if I wanted to pursue radio, I really had to come to an area where it was a little bit more English.
Okay.
Yes.
But at least you know French.
Yes,
which is
yes,
actually
yes,
very
yes, a
good
little,
because
yeah.
it's very difficult to learn French.
It is. It is a difficult language. And I did spend many years actually teaching English as a second language to
Okay.
many French speakers. So.
Because you are spot on great with English, for sure.
Well, I try to be. I mean, none of us are perfect, but
So, what do you like the most about the morning show?
I guess the fun that we have in the
Okay.
mornings, wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess I just would have to pinpoint it just to the fun that we have. It's not like coming to work. It's really just coming in and having a good time, basically.
And you get paid for it.
And I get paid for it. That's a bonus.
What are the qualities needed to be a radio host?
Well, if you're going to be a morning show host or co-host, you do have to, make sure that you can get up in the mornings, that's for sure, and be wide awake. I think that you have to also be... there's always going to be criticism, and you're probably your own greatest critic. So I think that you sort of have to, like always, if there is some criticism, well, just kind of take it with a grain of salt, a way to improve yourself, and always work to improve yourself. I think that's probably the main thing.
Okay, so you really need to be to retrospect about yourself.
Yes.
And listen to yourself.
Yes.
And always try to be the better of yourself.
Yes, that's right.
So, but you need a little bit of humor.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my
You do have to
God.
have a sense of humor, that's for sure. And you just have to relax and enjoy it, basically.
Relax.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure it looks like a stressful event. Like, I'm looking at the mic and I'm just thinking, how am I going to be able to do the weather?
Well, of course, it always looks stressful
Mm-hmm.
until you actually do it and become very comfortable with it. And then it's just every day, and you just, automatically do what you have to do, and it's not stressful anymore. So, it's like any job, I suppose.
You talk about getting up in the morning very early. At what time do you really get up in the morning?
At 4 o'clock.
Oh my God.
So I don't live too far, so I'm here by 5, generally, maybe a few minutes after.
Oh my God.
You get used to it.
I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Even on weekends, you wake up at 4 in the morning. Holidays, you wake up at 4 in the morning.
Well, they say life is to the person that wakes up early in the morning.
Mhm. But you do have to go to bed early at night, fairly early, at least between 8:30, 9 o'clock.
You were doing several types of jobs at the community radio. What's the difference between, I don't know, a morning person, a morning show person, somebody who does spots? Like, what is the difference?
Well, of course, there's always a difference whether you're live or whether you're pre-recorded, because if you're live, you can't go back and do a retake, right? You've made a mistake, it's out there, it's done. But if you're recording a spot or doing something else like that, you have the option to erase it or delete it and go back and do it again. So you do tend to relax a little bit more probably when you're pre-recording something.
Well, what is the biggest mistake you made on radio?
Oh my, what is the biggest mistake?
Because usually we have one mistake that we remember. What's the one that you remember? Maybe not the biggest, but the one that you truly remember.
Probably maybe just not being ready when it was time to go on air or something like that. Maybe along those lines. I don't
Okay.
remember any one specific time, but
Okay.
yeah, that's probably something that I would have nightmares about. Is like, okay, I'm supposed to be on air, and whoops, I've lost my script for the news or
Oh,
something
no.
like that. So, yeah, but that thankfully doesn't happen.
What is the best moment in your radio career so far?
The best moment, it's all been good. So I can't really say that one moment just stands out there. Who knows what's to come? Maybe something bigger will still come. But I guess I would just have to say that it's all just been really great.
So, would you be kind to show us how to do a radio spot?
So basically, we have a special program here that we open up, and need the mic close by, of course, and put it on, press record, and we're ready to go. Jewel weather, mainly sunny today, our high 7, clear with a low of -5 tonight, and sunny for the rest of the week and weekend. Tomorrow's high 11, Friday's 14, highs between 17 to 20 for Saturday and Sunday. Right now it is -1 in Clarence, Rockland. From the Jewel Newsroom, I'm Sylvia Ash-Bullard. So as you can see, it is recording there. I would stop it, save it, and put it into what we call a cart, where the computer will pick it up, or the program, Media Touch, will pick it up, and label it. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. I won't put this in right now. And there it will play automatically.
So, how many spots do you have during a show like that?
For voice tracking, so generally towards the end, the end of the morning, I will do some of the weathers for later on this morning. So I do about 4
Okay.
myself, yes.
Okay. So everybody does a little bit of that
Yes,
as well.
yes, that's right.
So it's like a teamwork.
That's right.
I've seen on your computer screen that there's like this big system. Can you explain to me a little bit of the system that's going on for the show?
Yeah, that's Media Touch.
Yes.
And so I can just show it to you. It's an op log, what we call an op log.
Okay.
So basically Derrick has control of that, and I can just kind of watch.
Oh, okay.
And, I don't really do too much on that.
Okay.
So he controls that mainly.
All right, so that means that Derrick is our main guy. So in a few moments, we will be talking with Derrick to explain to us how all the control of a radio station works.
That's the guy to talk to.
Well, if that's the guy, that's where we'll be. Stay with us.
Waking up with Fleetwood Mac, 7:57, the Jewel in Clarence, Rockland with Derrick and Sylvia. Mainly sunny today. Sunshine sounds nice. 7 the high, even nicer for the weekend. Highs around 17 to 20. -3 with the Beach Boys and Kokomo. Jewel 92.5.
Nous sommes revenus de la pause. Derrick a été assez généreux. Il va nous montrer tout ce qui a rapport avec la station. Donc, présentement, on est dans le studio actuel de Jewel, du 92.5, si je ne me trompe pas. Parce que, comme vous le savez, Jewel a quelques stations. Donc, et je crois que vous en avez une autre ici dans le studio, près du studio, pardon, le 98.5.
Yeah, our sister station, Jewel 98.5, is down the hall, and there's a Jewel in Hawkesbury and Hudson, and there's Jewel stations all over the place.
C'est fantastique. Alors, Derrick, tu vas nous montrer un peu la console ici, puis comment ça se déroule durant un show. Et ensuite, tu vas nous montrer un peu toute la station de radio. Alors, on y va.
It's called a board. It's a mixer.
Is it board?
So there's a different channel or a different volume for each input. For example, this microphone has its own channel. Sylvia and her booth has another one, and so on. So just like a DJ would have a different input for a different CD player or what have you. So this is in a way one of the main arteries of the radio station. So this controls the volume. This controls how loud I may sound on the morning show, how loud or soft Sylvia would sound, because I'm the loudest one. She's the one. She's very soft-spoken, you know.
Yes.
I can be a little loud. So if she was controlling this, she would probably bring the volume right down.
Okay.
So, and I would probably do the same thing for JF. No offense, my friend.
None taken.
No offense. So this would be the console. I would say the heart of the radio station is this monitor that you see right behind me. This pretty well is the radio station. Now, people might remember back in the old days where there was vinyl records. Some people may not remember that. The younger viewers, records, CDs, all of the music. Most people have music on MP3.
Yeah.
And that's pretty well what this is. This is called an automation system. So all of the music is all loaded into this computer software, and this plays all of the music, all of the commercials, anything pre-recorded, whether it would be something called a voice track, a commercial, maybe a pre-recorded newscast, if it has to be pre-recorded. This system runs everything. And this system also will mix from one element to the other. So, prime example, this song here from Captain and Tennille is now playing because you can see the green bar and it's counting down. So there's 2 minutes now, less than 2 minutes left in the song. And when this ends, it will go directly into the next element, and so on, and so on. Now, we have the ability, obviously, when Sylvia and I go on the radio and we talk, we don't want the music to continue playing. We can obviously take the system offline where nothing will continue playing until we hit the play button. So that pretty well sums up the radio station from the console to the automation system. And this is something, an automation system that's pretty well been in practice since probably the 1990s. All radio stations are on automation.
I guess it's more easy that way.
It's a lot easier with the automation system because the automation system really is doing all the work for you. Back before there was an automation system and people were using, say, CDs to play music on the radio, every time a song ended, the person at the radio station would have to press another button to start the next CD, and then so on. Now with this automation system, it takes care of everything. So really, it makes the announcer's job a little easier, but it also gives them more freedom and more time to research a news story, look up a funny story on the internet, write a joke. Maybe one's funnier than JF's jokes. Although JF's jokes are really good, I have to say.
Be on the social media also, because from what I've seen from the show in front before we came here, is that they're on the social media as well.
Social media really is the extension of television, radio, print, movies. You can add more content on social media. You can interact with your listeners. Sometimes we'll get traffic tips sent to us via our Facebook page. Jewel 925's on Facebook. We're also on Twitter as well at 925 The Jewel. So we certainly do take advantage of social media with contesting. We do this one contest, and we've been doing it for almost 3 years. It's called the Question of the Day, and it's random questions that anyone can answer for a chance to win a weekly prize. And some of the questions of the day are a little goofy, are a little silly, and then some of them can be very serious, from what roads in Clarence Rockland need the most work. Potholes always come up as a debate, and people like giving their opinions. So with social media, with Jewel 925, we give our listeners a chance to to interact, to react, to get information that they want, read articles more in depth, and just to chat.
So obviously you have more to do now than ever before.
With social media, definitely, and more competition, not only amongst other radio stations, but technology in general. I mean, people are spending more time watching television, Netflix, for example, than listening to radio. I mean, back in the before television, people used radio. That was the sole way of communicating information, news, and what have you. Now people have an opportunity, as you know, to get information that they want instantly on their smartphone and what have you. So radio has certainly changed. It's adapted. But the one thing that comes up quite a bit, people always say, when do you think radio is going to die? That's always come up. When satellite radio was really, really popular, people said, that's going to be the end of radio. Not the case, obviously. Satellite radio does have its advantages, but when you're listening to a satellite radio show out of Seattle, Washington, if there's a major traffic accident on Highway 17,
You'll never know.
you'll never know. Radio is all about being immediate and also being local as well.
So I guess that's what distinguishes Jewel from any other station that you can hear in Clarence Rockland. It's that local aspect of things.
Definitely. And obviously, people, they say, in general, have 3 radio stations that they listen to, and they'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I challenge anyone who may listen to one of the radio stations in Gatineau or one of the radio stations in Ottawa. When was the last time you were listening to a radio station in Ottawa where you found out about an event going on in the city of Clarence Rockland? Probably never. You will when you listen to The Jewel. Whether it's a fundraiser for the Scouts, we'll talk about it. Whether it's a community supper, we'll talk about it. If it's a fundraiser for a family in need, we'll talk about it. The local radio station will do that. The stations in Ottawa, obviously, just focus on Ottawa. They don't focus on Clarence Rockland.
So what about the podcast? Is that like affecting radio in a big way, or?
I don't think so. I mean, podcasting is something a little different. Generally, with podcasting, it's a lot of talk. With Jewel 92.5, we're very music driven. We do have the local talk, but we focus more so on music. Podcasting is great, but again, with podcasting, generally it's recorded and then posted, so it's not immediate. If something happens, you won't hear about it on a certain podcast. But with podcasting, at least, you can offer niche programming that may not be available on commercial radio. You can have certain themes to podcasting. For example, say podcasting on cars. Maybe one complete podcast where every week you talk about cars. With radio, you talk about various things. So podcasting serves a purpose, but I don't really think it's affecting radio as much as some people may say.
So beside podcast and satellite radio, is there anything else that affect ratings?
I think there's a lot that can affect ratings. Obviously, what's going on in the marketplace and the world. If there's a big news story going on, people generally will turn to their sources. Generally, it's television. So if there's something very topical happening in the world that people are interested about, chances are they'll turn on CNN or television. So yeah, that will affect radio in general. Competition affects radio and ratings. The more radio stations out there, the more competition, your ratings can drop. There's only so many available spots on the band, on the radio band, and radio, thankfully, is policed very well by the CRTC. It's not a matter of someone saying, I want to launch a radio station, let me get a license. The government will look very, very serious to Is there a need for this radio station? Is there a need for the style of radio and what the audience wants and needs? The government will also look at, if we were to license another radio station, how will that affect the other radio stations from a financial standpoint? There's only so much money to go around. You start adding more, there becomes less and less for the other radio stations. And sadly, what happens to companies that are suffering when it comes to making money? They start laying people off. So thankfully, we're well represented and we're pretty safe, but radio ratings are up and down, from who has the best giveaway to who plays the most music to who plays songs that people really want to listen to.
So Derrick, is the AM radio, is that dying or that still exists? Is that going to be around for a long time, or?
I think AM radio is obviously here to stay, but the interesting thing is, if you look at the new cars that are made nowadays, most of them don't include AM radio, which is scary for broadcasters of AM radio. When FM radio became very popular 30, 35 years ago, people said automatically it's the death of AM radio. Well, what AM radio did was they became very niche programmers. If you listen to AM radio now, you're not going to hear music, but you're going to hear talk, and a lot of talk. So talk radio is primarily on AM, music is primarily on FM, but if you look at some of the big cities in the U.S., talk is on FM, and that's also starting to happen here in Canada, setting aside CBC. CBC, there's talk on AM and FM, and some of the bigger cities in Canada are switching their AM stations to FM and doing talk.
Thank you, Derrick, for giving us a tour of this studio.
Yeah.
But little last thing, you're going to give us a tour of the station itself.
Oh, definitely. And of course, there is another radio station in the building, Jewel 98.5, our sister station down the hall. So that can be a part of the tour as well.
Perfect. Let's go.
Can't wait to see it.
So we'll just walk down.
I find that it's very big. You've got a lot of space.
Well, the one thing about this building is, before the Jewel purchased it, it used to be a famous French restaurant called Le Jardin. They've had celebrities here. The Rolling Stones were rumored to have dined here. Politicians, what have you. So people always note the wallpaper, but it is part of the charm, and it is part of the the history of the building. So when the Jewel purchased the building, they made some minor changes, but not really a lot. They tried to keep a lot of it back to its original roots.
We are approaching, if I'm not mistaken, the studios of 98.5.
Yeah, Jewel 98.5. It's our Ottawa radio station. Separate announcers, separate morning show. They actually have a unique morning show on Jewel 98.5, something that people really haven't heard anywhere else but here. They have two women doing the morning show. If you look at most morning shows, it's generally either two men or a man and a woman. They do it something different. So they have Cody and Nita, and they call it Breakfast with the Girls on Jewel 98.5. So the music's very similar. Commercials are different. Advertisers are different because it's an Ottawa radio station. You'll notice, too, the studio's a little bit bigger than the one in Rockland, and it's one room. It's not separated, whereas Sylvia and I are separated by the glass, and sometimes, based on some of the comments I make, it's good that the glass is there, just for my own protection. Yeah, my own protection.
Thank you, Derrick, for giving us this tour. We're getting back to the studio because we will be helping you host the show a little bit.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's go. Let's go.
Light and refreshing, Jewel 92.5. Good morning from Derrick and Sylvia. We've got the crew from TV7 in here, Stephanie and JF, and very soon, Stephanie is going to try her hand out at delivering the Jewel forecast. But Sylvia, you've been doing this for a number of years. You're the pro when it comes to delivering the ideal weather forecast. What tips do you have for Stephanie on how to make this weather forecast the best possible and maybe, just maybe, beat out JF, who will also be trying his hand at the forecast as well? So lay on a couple of basic tips for us.
Well, I would say keep it simple. Don't get too complicated with the weather. And of course, smile. Even though the weather may not be that great, there is always something to smile about.
Alors, je suis présentement avec Derrick qui va me donner des suggestions comment devenir un bon animateur de radio. Il va me donner des petites suggestions sur comment faire la météo. Alors, je m'en vais poser la question qui tue. So, Derrick,
Are you ready for the challenge?
I am very nervous, I gotta tell you, because...
Now, who do you think's going to do a better job, you or JF? Be honest.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be GF.
Okay.
Because I think he's got great potential with that.
The one thing that JF does have, and here's tip number one, you gotta be animated.
Yeah.
Big smile when you do the weather forecast.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna remember my voice, big smile in there.
Big smile, because sometimes the weather's not that great. So you still need to be positive about things. So a big smile on your face when you read the weather forecast.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, keep it simple. People don't need to know what the weather is going to be like in 12 days from today because it's going to change. So generally, when you do a weather forecast on the radio, keep it simple, big smile. People want to know what the weather is going to be like for the next 12, 24 hours. That's it.
Perfect.
So those are a few tips to keep in mind when we put you and JF to the challenge.
Perfect. So then I'm just gonna do a little tryout before, and then we're gonna go live on the radio.
Good morning, 804, The Jewel in Clarence, Rockland. Facebook.com/The Jewel 925. Follow us on Twitter too at 925 The Jewel with Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. Here's Say, Say, Say. Good morning from The Jewel. So in 3 minutes,
Okay.
we're going to do it for real and live. Practice number 1.
Hi everybody, I'm Stephanie from TVC 22. Right now in Clarence, Rockland, it's -4. Jewel weather, mainly sunny today, high of 7. Clear with a low of -5 tonight. For the rest of the week, it seems that spring is around the corner, so it's going to be between 17 and 20 for, I forgot Friday.
Bloopers, take 2.
Hi everybody, I'm Stephanie from TVC 22. Right now it is -4 in Clarence, Rockland. Jewel weather, mainly sunny today, a high of 7. Clear with a low of -5. Tomorrow, Friday, it's going to be 14. But Saturday and Sunday, it seems that spring's around the corner with 17 to 20.
It's 8:07. Sylvia, you may soon have some competition. Just saying.
Okay.
The crew from TV7 are in this morning, JF and Stephanie, and we mentioned that both of them have this friendly competition going on as to who can deliver the better weather forecast. Now, you shared some tips. I shared some tips with Stephanie a couple of minutes ago. So she's actually going to do it for real now. So grab a piece of paper and pen because chances are you're going to want to make some notes on this, right? You know, to improve your technique.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. And for anyone aspiring to get into radio, gather around the radio because Stephanie is here from TV7 to do the forecast. Stephanie, are you ready?
I think I am. All right, everybody, here I go. I'm Stephanie from TVC22, Jewel weather. Mainly sunny today. Our high is 7. Clear with a low of -5 tonight. Sunny for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Friday 14, and it looks like spring is just around the corner because it's going to be between 17 and 20 for Saturday and Sunday. Right now it is -3 in Clarence, Rockland.
Sylvia, I got a good idea. I got a great idea. Let's you and I just go home. Like, that was brilliant. That was, yeah. Well done. So, Stephanie gave it a whirl. Will JF do a better job delivering the forecast? Notice how animated she was? It's almost like she was up before, I don't know, 6. You and I are still waking up now, actually.
Donc, ça va être à mon tour dans les prochaines minutes de faire la prévision météorologique, qu'ils appellent la météo. Dire ce que je pense de la météo avec Derrick ici à mon côté. Donc, honnêtement, je suis pas stressé. Si je manque mon coup, je manque mon coup. Mais Steph, là, elle a bien fait ça. Très bien fait ça. Donc, la compétition va être forte. Très serrée, je pense.
So you're not nervous?
Not at all. No.
No, you look very calm.
I was nervous, but I'm like, let's just get it done with. Finissons-en, je le fais, j'ai hâte de parler, j'ai vraiment hâte. J'ai toujours voulu faire de la radio, c'est mon rêve, puis c'est enfin là. Dream come true. Yeah. For me it is, man. It's been so many years. I want to do radio. There it is, the microphone is there. I can do it.
So what you're saying is I could technically be out of work in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
Yes! Wow, you're confident?
I try to be, man. You gotta be, right? You gotta be confident. So yeah. Here he goes. Wake up, Clarence, Rockland.
Hang on, here we go. Light and refreshing Jewel, that E2-5. And Chantal Patty at 8:29. It's Derrick, Sylvia, Stephanie from TVC22, and JF. Now, earlier we heard Stephanie do the Jewel forecast. Now, JF. And all I have to say, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. Animated. He's a little animated. He can be considered a little over the top. A little over the top. So JF, you heard Stephanie do it. The challenge is on. Right. Who does a better weather forecast? Was it Stephanie or was it JF? Let's find out.
Thank you, Derrick. All right, here it comes. It's Jewel weather. Bad news, people. Another snowstorm is coming our way. I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. We're tired of the snow. Anyways, mainly sunny today with a high of 7. Clear with a low clear with a low minus... Sorry, again. Clear with a low -5 tonight. Sweet. Sunny for the rest of the week and weekend. Tomorrow's high will be 11. Awesome. Friday's 14. Cool. And highs between 17 and 20 for Saturday and Sunday. That's just awesome. Right now, it's -3 in Clarence, Rockland.
Hey, did you notice the animation there? Remember we gave them tips and said, be really animated, never lie, even though he told a little bit of a lie. And did you notice how he added a little more compared to Stephanie, where he almost did a commentary along with the forecast? In the meantime, it's 8:31. Here's Sylvia with your Jewel News updates. That was good.
Was it?
Yeah, it was good.
I said a bad word.
Commitments will coincide with its announcement on its key interest.
Alors, nous voilà sortis de la station de radio de Jewel. Je crois que ça a été très instructif. Aujourd'hui, qu'est-ce que tu en penses?
Je suis d'accord.
Alors, on a eu du fun, on a appris beaucoup.
C'était vraiment le fun.
Alors, merci d'avoir écouté. Passionnez-moi.
C'est agréable aussi. Derrick, t'es mon idole, je capote, là. Je retournerai tout de suite. Moi, je retourne.
Et voilà.
So keep that in mind, JF.
I will do that.
Never burn your bridges. Never create...
Sorry, it's my phone.
Oh, man.
Sorry, man. Damn it. Allô? Ouais, faut que je te rappelle plus tard, je suis en entrevue. OK, salut. Sorry. Oh, that guy.